Without further ado, we'll start the round of presentations. So first off, from a town far, far away, let's give it up for Star Vision.
Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well, and welcome to our presentation on Star Vision. My name is Abdiel Feliciano. I'm the lead developer behind Star Vision. I handle the game engine, 3D models, and animations. Joining me here today are my colleagues, Lari Huarbe, who handle the front end and back end for our website, and Rafael Santos, who handle the database and back end for our project. Our inspiration for Star Vision was driven by a passion for space and astronomy. Our small team of developers from Holberton School, Puerto Rico, embarked on a journey to create a simulation of our solar system. We wanted to create an engaging and interactive tool that would help educate students and facilitate teachers in helping and discovering the wonders beyond our planet.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ladi Huarbe, and I am the front-end developer for Star Vision. Our main objective is to create a curiosity and a deeper comprehension of the astronomical concepts while providing an immersive educational platform. We aim to create complex ideas, accessible and enjoyable for any of our users of all ages, and we create a sense of wonder for anyone who uses our simulation. And as we can see here, we have a video clip showcasing the front end of Star Vision, and we will run the entire simulation. So it will showcase a small clip of it. So here's the front page. When you click of it, it will drag you to the simulation, and you will see on the left corner the UI inventory, and on the right side, the planetary database. For technologies, these are technologies that form Star Vision. And the main ingredient here is Unity game engine powered by C#. This is what gives life to Star Vision, giving us the 3D animations and all the models that create Star Vision, along with the front-end page that is built with CSS, HTML, JavaScript, and a Bootstrap framework to make it more alive and vivid. Well, we have also the WebGL, which is the one that creates the entire build in it and also hosted on GitHub pages. We do have SQLite. However, for some compatibility issues that have with WebGL, it did not work, but we will explain that later in the presentation.
So hi, everyone. My name is Rafael Santos, and as Abdiel mentioned earlier, I was the one in charge of backend and database. I will be presenting to you today the challenges that we had during the project that we were creating. So, challenges. We faced several challenges. Throughout the development process, we had to create accurate celestial body representations. So we had to create every planet with the right size, right dimensions, and place them in the right position. We managed to work with the complex orbits and rotations of every planet. We worked very hard with the performance, so we had to make our project to run lighter so it would be accessible for any device. We created an intuitive UI, understandable and easy to use interface for everyone. And one of the most challenging part, as our peer here, Larry, mentioned, was integrating SQLite as our database. Due to some problems, our build did not access the database when we worked with SQLite. So we have to change the way we store our data by utilizing JSON format. So we gather all the information from NASA databases and we stored it in a JSON file. So our WebGL build could access every information from every planet without any problem. We meticulously debug and test our project to ensure that it will run with the right way, it had the right performance, and it will have maintained the data integrity. So, despite all the challenges that we faced, we're proud to say that we successfully created a simulation that will provide to you an immersive and educational experience.
Thank you for your attention. We hope that you have enjoyed learning about Star Vision as much as we enjoyed creating it. If you have any questions, feel free to come by our booth.
Thank you. That was Star Vision, a whole nother world. I can't wait. Next up, we will be welcoming an app that will help small businesses with their day-to-day and scheduling with their customers. So please welcome Bravas.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's our presentation today. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate your time. Our presentation is called Bravas. Before we get into any details, let's talk and meet the team. Janecia Santiago, she worked on the front-end developer of our project and also the design part of the project. Aramis worked on the back-end of the project and also was the project lead. And myself, Sean, I work on the front end of the project. Why Bravas? Our inspiration came from when we tried to schedule our appointments. We noticed that most local businesses don't have the technology to schedule those appointments, and they use text messages on phone calls to schedule their clients. With Bravas, we can facilitate the process using modernized technology to schedule this appointment. Our objective for this and our target with Bravas is to have those local businesses helping them manage and support their daily task in scheduling those appointments with modernized technology. I'll let you with Rami talk about the technologies we use to make this project happen.
So the technologies we used were Postgres as the database, hosted on RDS. The backend is on GoFiber, a HTTP network server, and the front end is on React.js. We used Google APIs to help businesses import sheets and allow them to see them on graphs. And then we also deployed it on AWS. So here's how a client would do the process to make an appointment. They would choose the owner they want. It'll say the service next to the name of the owner. It'll show their services. It'll ask for the date and the time, and they'll just book it. The appointments will show up here for the owners. If they click this button, they'll be able to go to their sheets and import sheets. So I'll leave you off with Jenna. She'll be explaining the challenges.
Okay, let's talk about some challenge we faced during the project. We, sorry. Okay. Ensure a consistent data flow between the front end and the back end. We implemented a robust data consistent and conducted extensive testing. Synchronization appointments data between the app and Google Sheet. We used the Google API to maintain data consistency and update. We designed a user-friendly user app to our audience. We conducted survey and interview to understand what user needs. So this is all. Thank you for your attention. I hope you enjoy our presentation, and we hope you come over to both. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was Bravas. Next up, we have a team who built an app that if you have kids, could be very useful if they're learning Spanish and English or Spanglish. And even if you're learning Spanish, and if you're here in Puerto Rico and you want to learn a little Spanglish, they might be fun for you. So next up is Study and Fun.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sai Santana, and this is our project study. This is my team, Angelo Garcia and Robert Santana. Angelo is the game developer. He created the front end, Robert created, and I did database and back end. Study and Fun is inspired by a story I wrote. This story was writing for a literature competition, winning the second place at the Iceland level and published by the Satya Sai Institute. This story teaches about acceptance and self-esteem.
So when we decided we wanted to make an educational game, I was heavily inspired by Knowledge Adventure's Jumpstart series of games, as well as their Math Blaster series and the Learning Company's Reader Rabbit, among many others. Since Jumpstart went defunct literally last year in July, we thought it'd be a good idea to, take up the mantle of educational applications. So when we decided also to make an educational game, our intent was to reinforce vocabulary, not only in English, but also in Spanish, and to a new tech-savvy generation in a fun and interactive way. And our first game is an adaptation of the story just I mentioned earlier. In it, the player would take the vowels and drag them to the correct words to continue the story. And we have a demo at our booth. You can go there and play it whenever you want.
The languages what we used were HTML, CSS, and JavaScript to create the web page. And our first game, El Gatito que quería ser León, was created with Engine Game Developer. And the current version of the game can be deployed as an external program and as a web-based game. On the web, the game is rendered with WebGL, and which is how it is currently deployed. We keep the track of the game, player per user with MySQL, and the database logic was managed with Express.js. The content of the 2D asset of the game was created with Illustrator, and the 3D model was created with Blender. The challenges that we had were building a game programming language that did have experience, but we solved it by studying online documentation and the previous, which made it easier. We did the same with the Express.js framework. Integrate data into the database. We solved it by searching for information on the internet and talking with our superiors. And challenges not technical, like frequent power outage and the challenge of balancing commitment with the campus responsibilities. But we set up is where we update each other and update our progress on the project.
I hope I'll enjoy our first game because we plan to release more in the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Study and Fun. Next up, I know I really like to travel around Puerto Rico, so this app helps you do that. Please meet Travel Vibes PR.
Hello, everyone. We are Travel Vibes PR, your personalized local tourism advisor. My name is Bradley Rodriguez. I served as full stack developer for the project. We also have Sebastian Quiñones, served as front-end developer, and Leandro, who served as back-end developer. So, Travel Vibes. The inspiration for Travel Vibes came from me. I have over 11 years of experience in the tourism industry. And after meeting so many people every day, I get to talk to them about the experiences that they've had in Puerto Rico. And I noticed that there is a space to provide more exposure to smaller companies and smaller tour providers, and so that they can experience a little bit more of the Puerto Rico culture has to offer. To that end, what Travel Vibes does is match you through the user Vibes system. You can choose Vibes to add to your profile, and it's going to match you with experiences within our database. I'm going to leave you with Leandro and Sebastian, who are going to be giving you guys an overview of how our app looks.
Hello guys, I'm Leandro. I work as a backend developer. And here I'm showing you guys our home screen where you can see the experiences and the vibes that best describe the experiences. Here is the vibe selection feature, which can filter the experience search with a vibe that best describes the experience that you want to have. Now I'm going to be leaving you guys with Sebastian, who is going to talk to you about the filtered experiences.
Hello everyone, I'm Sebastian, and as Sandro said, I will be explaining to you how the filter experiences work. So basically, as you saw on the slide earlier, the selected vibe was historic. So based off that, our app will recommend experiences based on your vibe selection. Now, once again, I'll leave you with Leandro so he can explain to you how our map view works.
Here we have an alternative view, which is the map view, where you can see your filtered vibes and with the markers. And if you click on the marker, you can see a brief info of the experience. For our technologies, we use Google APIs, Google Maps API specifically for the map view that I previously showed, and Google Places API, which we use to fetch experiences from Google Maps, especially highly rated experiences, to populate our database.
For the language we went with a full JavaScript stack. It's known as the MERN stack. The MERN stack uses MongoDB as its database. MongoDB is very scalable, and at least for a project scope, it served us really well. It's currently being hosted on Atlas DB. We also use Node.js to create the backend server that fetches from our database whenever we need, and Express.js to create the endpoint routes to the backend API.
For the front end, we use React.js as a way to create a dynamic user interface using the endpoints provided by Express.js. As for our challenges, our main challenge was learning a new technology stack because we needed a lot of time to do research. So we adjusted some due dates in order to a more realistic time frame in order to implement those new technologies. But even then, we still had to make some minor changes to some of those due dates due to some debugging issues that arose as we built our app. And with that, thank you very much for your time and for your attention. Make sure to scan our QR code so you can connect with us via LinkedIn and view our landing page. And feel free to come by our booth for a live demo of our app.
Thank you, Travel Vibes PR. Next up, if you've ever owned a car and gotten it serviced, you'll find this tool really, really useful. So please welcome AutoLink.
Good morning, guys. Thank you all for being here. We're going to be talking today about AutoLink. It was developed by myself, Pedro Laguna, and my partner, Manuel, a full stack on this project. So why AutoLink? Sure, most of you guys have been in auto service center, been hit with the same question. Are you leaving the car or are you waiting for it? This often creates a communication gap between customer and the service center because maybe you want to do groceries, maybe you want to go to Walmart, go to Marshall's, you name it, but you just don't know how much time your service is going to be taken. So we developed a web app that actually eliminates this gap, a web app where the client can see how much their service is going to be taken.
Hi everyone, I'm Manuel Morales. I'm gonna show you a little bit of AutoLink. This is our landing page. Then you see the client registration form. Here you collect the client information and their vehicles and get stored to the database. Then when it gets stored, you can see the the client list. This is where we show all the client existing in the database. Then here you can select which client do you want to add to the queue. When you add it to the queue, you can see there we have a queue table. There you can see the client that is gone next to the is up next to the service. Then when you select the service, you select the service and change the status and get the update going on. And the countdown's gonna start cutting down. Here are our technologies. For our technologies, we use HTML, CSS, and JavaScript for our front end. For our infrastructure, we use AWS and Docker, and our backend is built with Python. We use PostgreSQL for our database, and we use for our framework FastAPI. We use FastAPI because it offers some key benefit that was really crucial for us in this work. It's built on ASGI, which allows asynchronous operations, which make it incapable of handling many requests at the same time.
For our technical challenges, so we encountered some technical challenges. The more important one was that we stumbled across a learning curve. At the moment that we learned that we needed to use FastAPI, we didn't know nothing about FastAPI. So we needed to create a gap in our timeline to learn new technologies, in this case, FastAPI, Docker, and AWS. For our non-technical challenges, we had very bad time management because we both worked full-time jobs and had other commitments. So we improved this by having improved communication. We often we scheduled weekly meetings. We met every week. We often left notes on each code plug when he was working on a project while I was not working on a project. And we often also use strategies like divide and conquer so we can meet the standards of our timeline, and then we can divide tasks into manageable chunks and get things done before, to wrap it up with the timeline, make it seem like we are actually complying with our timeline. Thank you guys for being here once again. We hope to see you at our booth, and if you wish to contact us, you can scan our barcode over there.
Thank you, AutoLink. I can't wait for my auto shop to install that app. Next up, we have a team who developed an app that will help you find local services and skills very close to your doorstep. Please welcome Iterio.
Hello and good morning, everyone. My name is Nicola Licea, and I was one of the developers working on Iterio. Our team consisted of 3 members. We have Elizabeth Mendez, who was our full stack developer. William Herrera was our lead developer and also worked on the database. And myself, I worked on the front end and the back end. So why Iterio? The idea came to us while we were leaving campus one day, and we were talking about how difficult it could be to, for example, an electrician or a plumber that is, especially if you live more towards the center of the island. I live in Utuado, Puerto Rico, which is more towards the center, and I was in need of an electrician. Little did I know, I had one living 2 houses down from me, if not for my family members who knew this individual personally. So therefore, we thought, why not create a page where these professionals can post their services, help them gather a client base, and also help the users that are in need of those services.
Good morning, everybody. My name is William Herrera. I'm the lead software engineer for the Iterio project. Right now, you're looking at the homepage, but I want you to look carefully at the top right corner right here, where you will see a nav bar. This nav bar will follow the user through the whole page, allowing them to travel Iterio from one end to another one, going from the homepage into the profile, logging in, logging out, and registering. Also at the homepage, you will be able to go into the different categories beneath Iterio. After you have selected your desired service that you may want to book, you will be met with a page similar to this one. At this page, you will see basic information about the service you're trying to book. This information renders from the name of the service, a basic description, contact information, and availability. But most importantly, you will see these 2 buttons right here. These buttons will allow you to message the service provider directly or go into his profile and see more about this service provider. I will leave you with a full stack developer, Elizabeth.
Hi everyone, my name is Elizabeth Mendez, and I'm going to be talking about the technologies that we use for Iterio. So for our backend, we chose Python and Django. Django is a high-level Python web framework, and we use it to build the base of our application. For interactive content and dynamic elements, we use JavaScript, and to start our application, we use Tailwind CSS along with HTML and CSS. While HTML provided the structure, Tailwind helped us make our app look more appealing and professional. And by combining these technologies, we were able to create a seamless, efficient, and user-friendly platform.
So building Iterio, we encountered some challenges. The first challenge we encountered was we wanted to change from SQLite database into SQL Server's database. We wanted SQL Server because SQL Servers provided a more robust database and also enhanced scalability. But for the time frame we had to stick with SQLite because it came compatible with the Django already, and it was working correctly. Another problem arose when we wanted to create the feature for the booking system. We thought this was going to be a straight up easy process, but we quickly noticed it wasn't going to be that easy. But our colleague Nicole did a great research job in analyzing the code, finally creating the booking system we have currently today. The other problems we encountered was time constraint issues and having to learn the new framework that was Django. But for this, me and my team decided that the best option was to use GitHub projects. GitHub projects work somehow like Trello, allowing you to create a project and then assign different tasks to the different members with a time frame. We also took advantage to create a column that we call resources, where we share resources between one another, allowing us to help each other, even if we didn't have daily meetings. Overall, GitHub project was a great call for our team and helped us out throughout the whole development of Iterio. Thank you all for your time. You're more than welcome to our booth after this. And remember, Iterio is the place where your skills shape your future. Thank you.
Thank you, Iterio, for this fresh look on classifieds, or clasificados is what we call it here in PR. Next up, we have a team that built an app that helps medical clinics simplify their inventory management. Please welcome StockFlow.
Well, good morning, everyone. We are glad to present our web app, StockFlow. But before we get into any details, let us introduce the faces responsible for bringing this idea to life.
My name is Osvaldo. I am the front-end UI developer.
My name is Mileni. I'm the front-end UI developer.
I'm Juan Lopez. I worked as database and backend developer.
And last but not least, myself, Emmanuel, project lead and backend developer. Why StockFlow? Well, a few months ago, our team had the opportunity to speak with an IT director of an information technology company that provides solutions for the effective management of healthcare technology in Puerto Rico. And despite having a solid infrastructure, they struggle with an efficient solution for the inventory management of the future of medicine, ambulatory care centers, especially for surgeons, because these professionals require a constant and precise flow of medical supplies. Recognizing this need, we decided to create StockFlow. Our web app focuses on solving problems like this by providing automated and efficient inventory management designed specifically for clinical environments. This not only allows to improve operational efficiency, but also allows doctors and administrators to focus on what matters most, patient care.
Here are some screenshots. Our first image is our main page. It is designed with big buttons and soft colors for ease of use and visibility. Our second image is our product history page, where you can see a 30-day history of your overall stock, or it can be of an individual item. It also keeps an up-to-date expenditure. Our third screenshot is our view items page, where you can see all your stock. You can search for them using the search bar up there. and you can update, delete, view their specific history, or set an alert for your desired low level start.
For language, HTML for structuring, for front CSS is framework, and Jinja for dynamic HTML.
Our backend is built using Python for backend logic and data manipulation. We're using SQL Alchemy for ORM-based database manipulation. Our framework is using Flask. We are using SQLite to create our database. We are using SendGrid for automated email verification process, and our web app is hosted on Azure services.
So our non-technical challenges are time frame, teamwork. We had many personal situations and work, and also each of us are from different parts of Puerto Rico. So we solve these challenges organizing ourselves by scheduling weekly physical meetings, virtual meetings 3 times a week. So to be able to keep the project up to date.
For the technical one, learning and implementing new technologies. That was the most challenge for us because we had to learn new technology in a short time, but we solved it by online researches and research.
For any questions or see our project, you can scan the QR code, or we will be happy to see you at our booth. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Stockflow. Next up, we have a team who built an app that will help you create the best getaway possible. So please welcome Dusty Quest.
Hello, everyone. We are Dusty Quest. Our team is composed by Michael Duarte, one of our front-end developers, myself, Freddy Rosa, the project lead and back-end developer, Mori Castro, our full-stack developer, and Armando Marrero, our other front-end developer. Our inspiration for creating this travel app was that we want to enhance travel planning experience. Well, one day, when I was looking for a job in the auto job board and talking with my girlfriend about traveling, I got the idea if I can merge the question part of OTA with a travel app and recommend experiences based on the user's preferences.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Michael. I'm going to speak on a little bit about what DustyQuest does today. DustyQuest enhances your navigation and interaction by using engaging questions to help you find your dream destination. Our group, passionate about video games, has crafted this service with a gamer-centric approach targeting fellow gaming enthusiasts who seek adventure in their travels.
Hello, everyone. I'm Armando Marrero. I'm the front developer from Quest, and today I'm going to tell a little bit about our technologies. Where for the front end, we use HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. For the backend, we use Python, the Django. We use Python. Basically, the syntax is more easy to work on it. And yeah, that's it. For the container, we use Docker. And for the data management, we use SQLite.
We opted for a gamer-inspired interface to create a more interactive user experience. According to Playco, Gen Z and millennials take up to 58% of the active US gaming market, aligning perfectly with our target demographic. Additionally, Forbes Advisory reports that 56% of Gen Z and 49% of millennials plan to increase their travel activities in 2024, further supporting our audience focus.
Hi, everyone. My name is Maurice. So while we were working in DustyQuest, we had a lot of challenges. One of them was time, because we had to learn new technologies such as the Django and Docker while we were building the website. Another challenge that we had was looking for a good API, because the top aviation APIs denied to give us access to the API because we don't have enough traffic in our website. So we had to look for a less reliable API that gave us a lot of issues with flights legitimacy, because we saw that many of the flights returned by these APIs were not accurate. Even some of them were not real. Additionally to that, the data of the APIs were limited. So we had to combine resources from multiple, data from multiple resources, so we can have the complete data of every flight.
And how we resolve the challenges? We basically just partner with smaller, repeatable APIs. We implemented a verification process, and at the end, we just use our knowledge to verify all our data. Thank you for your time. We hope to see you at our booth, and please scan the QR code at your earliest convenience to get to know a little bit more about us.
Thank you, DestiQuest. Next up, we have a team who built a data scraping app. Please welcome Harvest.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. We're excited to present the Harvest, our data scraping and visualizer. Behind us, want to present the team. With us, we have Minoshka Perez. She worked our front end. She worked our web design. She also did our landing page. So we also have Leslie Carrion. He worked our back end. He was our debugger as well. He worked with data cleaning and the scraping as well. Javier Ferrer was our project lead. He was a full stack developer in this project. He basically worked in every bit of the project. And myself, I'm a backend developer. I work with the AI analyzer and generator. Yeah.
So what's the inspiration behind Harvest? We wanted to create a custom multi-purpose data tool for researchers, students, and just daily users. How do we achieve this? Well, we provide easy access to a vast array of pre-made tools to help you along your research journey, whatever they might take you. I think that with Harvest, you can leverage the data capabilities of Python, along with an AI model to help you along the way.
All right, the technologies we use for this project, we first start with the scraping. We use Panda for the data exploration. We use request library for the scraping. And then to get that HTML parser, we use Beautiful Soup. Then for the data visualization and the data sets, we use Plotty for the visualization and Kaggle for the database API. And also for the AI model, we use our large language model, we use OpenAI. And for the user interface, we use Streamlit.
Hello, everybody. I'd like to talk about some of the challenges that we faced making this project. One is the ethical scraping. Our goal wasn't to get IP banned as quickly as possible. We wanted to protect the data ecosystem and maintain all the TOSs from every website. So how did we do this? We basically employed, alongside requests, another library that Python has called Robot Parser. It checks every website that has a robots.txt page and make sure that we don't scrape something we're not supposed to. So the other problem that we had was the database and hosting. Initially, it was supposed to be a very complicated scraping project, but we had to reduce and adapt to what we could do at the moment. So we had set up an EC2 instance and an RDS using AWS, and got an email at like midnight saying that, you know, your data has reached its limit and we owe us $100. So we had to switch to Streamlit, which was a great way to showcase our data science projects with a bigger community. And some of the non-technical issues, you know, timing. We all have other responsibilities, and we delegated all our tasks well. We adapted to our challenges, and we did that by setting up in-person meetings, Discord calls, and used Git for version control.
All right, future integration for this project. First of all, we want to add more APIs where we can get more data sets from different web pages like .gov. Also, we want to include that you can use your own data sets from GitHub. And last but not least, a real-time visualizer for this project of any data, let's say on gold prices, steel prices, silver prices. And that will be all our integration for this project.
From all of us here at Project Harvest, we want to thank you for your time and your attention, and we hope to see you by our booth. Happy harvesting.
Thank you, Team Harvest. We're almost done. Thank you so much for your attention here. Next up, we have Palitas PR. And this is another localized and accessible services app with very great t-shirts. So please welcome again, Palitas PR.
Hi, it's great to have you out here today. We're excited to present our demo day project, Palitas PR. I'm Luis, the lead of this team. And with us, we have Antonio, our cloud architect and backend developer, database developer, excuse me. We have Luis, our backend developer. We have Livan, our front-end developer. And finally, we have Jonathan, our front-end/mobile developer.
So Palitas PR was inspired with one of our own team members, Luis Toro. He actually works as a tiler with his father. And he described one of the biggest challenges was finding new clients. We also spoke to family members and friends where they described that they felt frustrated trying to find service providers because it can be tiresome, and that they needed someone fast for the job in the house. To solve those problems, Palitas PR has a main search bar where you can type search and search for service names. Here you can filter out either by providers or clients. So this means that if you're a provider, you can search your clients. You don't have to wait for them to search you. You can filter by town, and after seeing the post, you can see the details, see pictures, and see reviews. In our creation aspect for posts, on the left side, if you're a promoter, you can create your post, upload pictures, and specify in what towns are you providing your services. Same thing for the client view on the right side here. Would be someone requesting for a baker, so he doesn't want to search for a provider, he wants him to be searched for. Finally, you can track and manage work evidence, meaning that if you have an appointment with a client or you manage to set up a date or a job, you can keep track of terms that you can set up as a provider. And you can also set a price range. So basically, you always have some type of evidence between the app so that you can keep track with your client on the details.
Palitas PR has a single-page application architecture. So basically, we have our Svelte front end that compiles to a dedicated backend folder to be served by Flask.
Our front-end area of technology, we use Vite as our builder. As our main language, we decided to go with JavaScript. We chose Svelte as our framework too, because it doesn't need a virtual DOM, resulting in faster runtime performance, in combination with Tailwind CSS and Daisy UI.
We then took our app to the next level by implementing mobile responsive features for our mobile users. We also implemented PWA, so the downloads are easier. For that, we use Meso as our framework for emails to create a personalized email experience for our users.
For the backend, we use Python and Flask. And for handling our data, we use SQL Alchemy to interact our PostgreSQL database. And we made a console to test our functions. Also, to interact with AWS, we use Boto3.
On the cloud side, we have an EC2 instance that's running a Linux server, using a reverse proxy with Nginx and using Unicorn. The EC2 instance is the traffic for it's being handled by the load balancer. So it's redirecting HTTP, HTTPS into the instance. For the database, like Louis said, is being hosted on RDS. Pictures, because obviously the users can interact with the app and upload their own pictures. That's being handled by the S3 bucket. And finally, for the deployment and SSL certificates, we are using Amazon's own Route 53 and Amazon Certificate Manager.
So QC's development doing a lot of research to understand how it could be used on our project, because we didn't use this framework before, which led to a lot of trials and errors. We needed to understand how the state changes propagate and how to use reactive declaration and reactive statement effectively, because they can lead to performance issues.
Another challenge we had was pagination due to reactivity. And to solve it, we use flash cache to save our previous result to compare to the new results.
Another of our challenges, as most of the other teams, was the time. And to solve this, we use Trello as our Kanban board to keep our work updated and to post new tasks. We also use Discord to have daily meetings and discuss our progress as well as our task. And we also use GitHub to maintain our work updated. And if one of us didn't finish what we were working on, we could keep working as a team.
That was Palita Pere. Thank you for your time. And for more questions and live demo, you can go by our booth.
Thank you so much, Palitas PR. And we have one more presentation to go, but that wraps up our Foundations graduates presentation. Next up, we have an exciting presentation by our specialization in full stack web development, who will bring us a fresh take on a familiar game. Please welcome Hoot Hub.
Hello, everyone. My name is Gabriel Fernandez, and my project is Hoot Hub. Hoot Hub is a social media recreation of the game Kahoot. I'm sure that maybe you have heard of it. It's played at schools, and it's typically hosted by teachers, where they set up a game online, a test with multiple choice questions. They display images, questions, and answers on a big board, and then the students with their phones or tablets or devices can vote for the correct answer using colors and shapes. The faster the students answer the questions and the more correct they are, the more points they gain. And at the end, the winner usually wins some prize. Hoot Hub is a recreation of Kahoot, but as a social media, where players can create accounts and they can browse for other people's tests through different categories. They can upvote, downvote, and comment on those tests to discuss those tests. There's an editor where you can make a test with an image for thumbnail for the test, along with an image and a question for each question, different questions, a correct answer, and also the questions can last from 1 to 60 seconds, although answering a question in 1 second might be difficult. There are user profile screens where you can see the user's name, profile picture, statistics, and the tests that user made. And here's an example of me playing the test. And I noticed that this is that question before I answer it, and this is after I answer it. It's backward. I'm sorry. So for the team, thank you. So for the technologies used, I used Firebase for all of the backend, and I used Dart and Flutter for all of the front end. So I used one single API in the front end to manage all the information in the backend, because there's a lot of moving parts that correspond to the same pieces of data. For example, the users have their accounts, emails, and passwords and IDs in Firebase authentication, but they have images in the cloud storage for their profile pictures, and their tests and scores and comments and test results are stored in Cloud Firestore. So The functions for the API are written in the front end to manage all of the different moving parts, which can get very difficult to manage. So for the Cloud Firestore structure, each test has feedback from the user's information. It has the results of each user, which is just a test result that contains the results of each question. Each user has their account information and also their scores. Each test has each question, and each comment can comment in a test, but can also reply to another comment. And each comment also has feedback from other users. And for the images, each user profile's image is stored as its ID, and each test's image also. And for each test's question image, it's just the number of the question, starting from 0. So the challenges I faced while making this was the Flutter themes. It's very difficult to add themes to your app if you've already finished the structure of your app, because there's a lot of styling you'll have to do. There's a lot of wrapper widgets you have to add, like padding, center, list view. There's also theme widgets that you can add to the app, but different widgets respond to themes in different ways. So you have to go through your entire app and make sure that everything corresponds the right way. And at the end, I ended up, since this was the first time I did Flutter themes, I ended up with gigantic amount of lists of different themes for each widget. You've suffered with that, right? Okay. Structuring the data in Firebase was also a big challenge, because as I kept adding more data for different statistics, for different users, for different things, I had to keep redesigning the API functions, and organizing them and redesigning them at the same time can get very difficult. And there were a lot of holes that I had to patch. And state management and async API functions in Flutter can get very messy, and it's very difficult to manage them. I'm not so sure how to explain it, but the way you organize your code also has to match with the way you deal with the APIs. And if you change things, you change the way state manages, you have to basically untangle as if you were untying a knot in your code. And that can get very difficult as well. And finally, time management, because when you do all of these things, all of these restructurings, you're not exactly sure how long your project is going to take. And that can get very difficult, and you end up feeling like you have to rush through things to make sure that you have enough time. But at the same time, make sure that everything is perfect so that state management does not break. So what I learned is that Flutter is the nicer version of React, because Flutter has a better system of compilation. It's basically its own way of doing things. Its organization methods work, and even though it's complicated, I feel like it's less error prone than React, which is built on top of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and can have a lot of bugs, because not only in React do you have to understand how JavaScript works, how the idea of components work, and organize yourself, but also keep in mind that you're working with the browser itself, and that there's a lot of shared immutable state that's moving around, which can get pretty confusing. And it's better to complete the main ideas first imperfectly, even rush through them, and then perfect them, than trying to do everything perfect each step, which doesn't allow you to understand how long things can take, and you may never even finish. And that you should always overestimate the amount of time it takes you to do everything. Because when you plan things, typically you have the illusion that things will go perfectly, but that's not always the case. And you can see it by this image that I found on LinkedIn. So for the next steps of my project, I would like to add more different ways to browse tests, like through statistics, through difficulty, comments, users played, topics, hashtags, and combinations of those. I would like to display the difficulty of the tests, along with perhaps best player, best score, best questions answered correct in the test cards, adding the markdown formats to comments so that users can discuss the test using links and images. Implement the Firebase security rules. I left them for the end because I noticed that adding and redefining APIs and adding more structure to the data was difficult to keep track of, and also add Firebase security rules at the same time, which is its own language and can take a bit of time to understand what it is. Deploy online. This is a local host demo. And finally, share user statistics, tests, comments, test results, etc. through links. Thank you. That was all. And thank you to people watching online.
Thank you, Gabrielle. Thank you, Hoot Hub. So that concludes our presentation. Thank you for your attention. Before I open up the demo tables in the back, and we'll be opening, actually the food is already open. So the refreshments and the food is open. I just want to thank our students again for amazing presentations. And I would also like to introduce Mercedes Diaz, our campus director, who will say a few words, a few more seconds for the folks online. We'll be opening up our virtual meet and greet room following Mercedes' chat. And if you have any questions, Francis will be able to help you in the virtual meet and greet room. So thank you for your patience. And without further ado, Mercedes, thank you.
So honestly, tell me, what did you think about those presentations? I believe the future of the industry is in good hands. These are 35 students that you met today. There were a number of students that couldn't be here today, so they presented yesterday. So a total of 41 students graduated